This video will show you how to create workshops. This is useful for any trio counselor that has to do workshops with students, such as talent search or upper bound, and even EOC whenever they see high school students, or even it could work for creating adult workshops as well. So the problem here that we want to do with a chat box, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or any other one. In this case, I created ChatGPT, but this video will show you how to do the step-by-step from the prompt to the going back and forth to create these deliverables. And let me show you first what those deliverables are, what I came up with, and then I can show you the step-by-step of how I came up with them. And well, the problem is, I'm a trio counselor that wants to create a workshop for students to learn about the cost of living and explore careers to see which ones earn the salary needed for the lifestyle that they want. So the first thing I came up with, in this case, like I said, using ChatGPT, is a curriculum for the workshop. My goal for this was for any counselor to be able to use this workshop whenever they need to without having to gather so many things and figure out what they need to get and figure out how to put the presentation together or having to ask somebody for help. This is something where they can just grab it and go. So it includes objectives, the overview, what materials they need, the workshop flow, so they'll know exactly how long it will take and how long to take for each presentation, for each section of the workshop, and then even has exit ticket questions for the students to do. And this you can take it and put it on their folders. So it has the workshop curriculum, also a student worksheet. This is what they'll be using during the workshop. And then even has the materials that you'll need for the workshop, which is the career cards that look like this, and then the lifestyle cards. It's taking a little bit to load, but you can see them. There it is. And I also wanted to include an icebreaker to do before the activity. And the chat box was also able to help me create that. So let me show you how I came up with that. I used the initial prompt was using the framework that we talked about, which is the TCRIE. And then you can use that to start out. I started with the task, which is I am a trio counselor needing to create a workshop. And then I told it what my audience is. Being a trio counselor is kind of like the persona that you want to take on. And then the saying 9th through 11th graders, low income first generation, that's the audience. And then a curriculum is the style that I wanted or the format that I wanted for it. So all that's included on the task. The next thing is the context. And I said that's adding more details. So I said that the curriculum is for the workshop and I want it to be interactive. So those are details for students to determine how much they'll have to make in their career to afford the cost of living. And then I told that I wanted to be the curriculum to be similar to that of Dreamcatcher. And Dreamcatcher, it's a website that or a company that provides workshops for geared towards those in trio programs. So they have it where it's really easy to understand and you can follow with objectives and so on. So I wanted a style similar to that. So for references, I did the Dreamcatcher website and then I gave it an example. So I attached it. This is from Dreamcatcher. As you can see, it has the time, the steps, the materials, and then the worksheets. And then I attached two just for it to have more than one thing to look at. And then I uploaded two websites that tell you the cost of living these two. So I wanted them to use that as reference as far as like the content and the information that will go on there. So I have all my information. Like I said, I'm using the prompt framework. And then let's go into what I actually input in the ChatGPT and how I went back and forth to create those materials. So as you can see, what we just went over, that's exactly what I put on here. And then I did the two attachments. And based on that, it gave me the layout. It said, here's the full workshop in Dreamcatcher style. It modeled the structure, tone, layout, and guides based on what I uploaded. So it breaks it all down. And then it also gave me like the games materials that go with it and the student worksheet and so on. So it gave me everything, but I wanted to start with one thing at a time to be able to actually put it in a usable document like a PDF. So I started out with one thing at a time. That's the best way to go about it instead of asking for several things at the same time. You have better results asking one thing at a time. So I wanted to start with the actual curriculum. So I said, he asked, which one do you want to start with? So I said, let's start with the PDF for the teacher guide. So it did. It provided the PDF, as you can see here. And that's, like I said, it mimics the Dreamcatcher with the workshop flow, instructions, materials that you need, and so on. And then once I had that, I said, okay, let's go ahead and create the lifestyle cards. And I didn't provide much details. I just said, let's go with the lifestyle cards. This is what it gave me. Obviously, it's not what I wanted. I was thinking more something colorful with icons and like the ones I showed earlier, that my final product. So what I did though is I uploaded that same document and I say, create a printable lifestyle cards that use icons. Each option is separate so students can grab one at each station. Attaches each category with each option. So we're getting closer, right? Let's see. It gave me this. Exactly. It's getting there for what I asked for, but it did not have any graphics or anything. So then I used that I upload and say, attach are the printable lifestyle cards, add an animate design to each of them so I can cut them out and they have to be visually appealing. So it asked me, and ignore that it's in Spanish. Like we said, ChatGPT remembers you, and it's very custom to you. And since I have asked things in Spanish, it responded in Spanish. So, but in your case, if you don't put anything in Spanish or another language, it should stick to English. But anyhow, it said, okay, do you want a cartoon animated, or do you want it to look like a comic book, or cute animated icons, or how do you want it? And I just say A, which option A is cartoon animated with brilliant, private, with colors and borders and cartoon style. And this is what it gave me. So I just needed to make some small changes. For example, the modern apartment is not there, not all the food information and transportation. So, but I like the color and the icons that it used, that style. So I just gave it some details and I said, okay, I like option number 3, which page 1 will be housing and food and transportation, page 2, and so on. So I went back and forth. It gave me some information and I made some updates. So it was that evaluation part and then that iteration. So I was evaluating what it was giving me and then I was iterating information closer to the instructions, sorry, to what I wanted. And then I used its own thing. Here it gave me a different one, but at first I really wanted something like this. So I attached it and said, trade cards for lifestyle housing using the example attached. Here's the housing info. So I was more specific to what I wanted. And then it finally gave me that. And then I said, okay, use that same theme and style to create the rest. So it gave me the housing, and then I said, okay, here are the details for the food, and he created that. And then I said, here are the utility stuff, and he created that, and so on. So that's how I was able to get all the graphics for the lifestyle cards. And then I said, okay, I have this now. Now let's create a student handout. Notice I didn't have to put all the information again. I was just going off of what I initially put on that prompt. So it knows it's all related. So I asked, okay, give me the student handout. And he did. And I was pretty happy with this. So I just kept it the way it was. I think it's going to be very useful as the students go station to station to assess their cost of living. And at the end, they are able to add it up and see how much it is annually. So now that they have their lifestyle, they have how much it will cost, I need some career cards so that they can analyze those careers and see how much each one gets paid and if it's enough to afford their lifestyle. So I said, create the career cards following the same style as the lifestyle cards. And he said, okay, just to double check, do you want these careers on there? And I was fine with them. I didn't have any career specifically. And I said, that's fine. So he created that. And this is your opportunity also to change anything. If you're like, well, teachers here in Arkansas make 50K minimum. So you can say that, change the teacher salary to this, or change the electrician cost to that. And it's able to do that for when it creates the design. So I went back and forth to create those designs. I wanted 4 per page. So I started making those. And like I said, I went page by page to make it a little bit easier on it. Um, and then it made me the printable packet. Uh, it won't let me download it now, but I had it and I was able to download it. And I showed it to you earlier. So I had that. Let's see. And then I said, I knew I wanted an icebreaker as well, just to introduce this workshop to the students. So I said, give me, I just didn't know what it was. So what I wanted it to be. So I said, give me 5 icebreaker ideas to do to introduce this activity before we start. So he gave me 5 ideas, and they were all pretty good, but I had something a little bit in mind by this point. So I said, let's do icebreaker number 1, which is guess the price. And it's a rapid fire challenge. How much does Netflix cost, or phone bill, or rent, or so on, just to see if they have an idea of how much things cost. So it did that, and he gave me the breakdown of what it would look like. As you can see on here, some of the instructions was like, put 1 finger up if you think it's under 50, 2 fingers if it's between this. I was not a fan of that, because that means we'll have different ranges for each item, and I will have to explain how much and what finger is how much and all that. So I wanted to change it up a little bit. And I said, update this where students write down the price for each one, and whoever is closer to the final cost, once they add up everything, that's the one that wins. So it was able to do that, to make that quick change to the icebreaker. And then I said, okay, put this on a PDF so that I can download it. And it did. Here it is. So now, as you can, let's see. See, it gave me the instructions with that update. It said and it even tells you what to tell students. So tell students, we're going to test your cost of living, and write down what you think it costs. At the end, you add up your guesses. Whoever's total is closest to the real cost wins. So it's exactly what I asked it to do. So I downloaded that, and just with that, I am able to have a workshop that will teach students the cost of living and also the careers. And it was fairly quickly. I had private, very colorful cards with lifestyle and career, and even an icebreaker. and then the workshops and even a worksheet for the students. So it's all here. The way you can expand on this, you could also say, create a pre-workshop assessment for the students and then a post one. And you can also see the growth difference on there if you need a measurement of how this workshop worked. So it's very handy. Let me know if you have more questions on how to create additional workshops.